This video is going to spoil these 4 games. They're all quite short and will have a combined time to beat of barely over 10 hours, so play them first if you want to. Alright, let's go. I've always felt a little sorry for whoever has to write the store page blurb for a video game. After all, how do you fold an entire world, every hour you'll lose to it, everything it'll make you feel, into just a couple sentences? Slay the Spire begins its pitch as a declaration of the genres it is reinventing. We fused card games and roguelikes together to make the best single-player deck builder we could. And then it carries on. Craft a unique deck, encounter bizarre creatures, and so forth. Hollow Knight does the same thing in a prettier register. Forge your own path in Hollow Knight, an epic action-adventure through a vast ruined kingdom of insects and heroes, before continuing on about twisting caverns and tainted creatures. To their credit, these descriptions do a good job to tell you what to expect and why it's worth your money. But when a game is brave enough to drift its description away from the status quo, it hits like a truck. And in 2011, Playdead Studio released their debut title, and the description starkly reads, "Uncertain of his sister's fate, a boy enters limbo." Playdead Studio's refusal to further explain Limbo is perhaps the most faithful description the game could have. Limbo is relentlessly desaturated. That fuzzy static you're seeing, that's not your resolution, that's just how the game looks. And the sparseness of that one line is the sparseness of the entire world waiting behind it. And truth be told, you won't get much more of an explanation of what's going on than what that description gives you. What you will get, though, is an innate feeling of vulnerability. The scale of the game is unignorable. You look like a normal boy, but you are impossibly minuscule. You're in a forest, and the trees are unthinkably larger than they should be. And is that a giant spider, or are you really that small? Everything in this world is out to get you. Traps, spiders, boulders, machinery, even the shallowest bit of water is lethal. And despite being in grayscale, Limbo delivers some of the most gruesome death animations I've ever seen. As you get more accustomed to how the game operates, the shock value of the deaths may begin to wear off, and you will remember that you're just playing a 2D puzzle platformer. What you won't be able to shake, though, is the ever-present feeling that you're hopelessly alone. For all the ways games have learned to fill your ears, Limbo gives you almost nothing. There's no real soundtrack here, at least nothing you could hum on the way out. Your auditory experience with Limbo will be the acoustic equivalent of fog. It just lingers, shapeless and atmospheric. Wind moving through trees that are too big, the groan of machinery, the occasional wet sound of something shifting in the dark. And so, in those stretches where nothing is trying to kill you, the traps behind you, the screen briefly still, you notice the only sound that's left. It's you. Your own footsteps, small and even, the single noise in a world that has no one else in it to make one. If Limbo sees loneliness as a threat, 2018's Far Lone Sales sees loneliness as an aftermath. Though not quite to the same extent the world of Far is brutally monochromatic, you will immediately notice that you're the only speck of color in a world that has lost its soul. Your time with Far Lone Sales will be largely dictated by resource management. The game begins with a visit to a grave. The only way to go is forward where you find your home. Turning on the lights illuminates the blueprints of some kind of machine. Crossing a small pond, you find that machine. A massive dieselpunk landship, I guess. The game gives you no instructions, but with the context clues, you learn that to keep this vehicle running, you need to constantly manage its fuel. Its available energy is visible in a bright cyan tank, made even more obvious by the dead land around you. But let the steam accumulate too much, and the ship will overheat. Not to worry though, with a quick click of a button, you can release the steam and give the vehicle a little boost as a result. And so, the moment-to-moment gameplay is pacing around your different functional spaces, keeping a close eye on your remaining energy, sending more fuel into the engine, releasing the steam, firing up the engine again. Like Limbo, the protagonist of Far is incomprehensibly small. Yes, your off-the-rails locomotive is pretty big, but that's only compared to you. Along your journey, you will pass ships dozens of times larger than your own. In one moment, I had to exit my vehicle and cross a bridge on foot, and I saw how much of a speck I truly was, a grain of red in an overwhelming expanse of broken ships. In another memorable moment, I was forced to stop at a metal gate, and so I hopped out of my little mobile home and took an elevator up. I saw my vehicle disappear from my view as I rose into the night sky. Finally reaching the top, I aligned the frequency and audibly laughed when the radio in the tower started to play, of all things, jazz music. I chose to take the radio with me. Far Lone Sails is a game in which you hold on to the smallest moments like this because you cannot escape the loneliness of the barren landscape. You can only find your place in it, traveling through the remains of an industrial world in a ship held together by ingenuity and sheer persistence. 8 years after the release of Limbo, a different game about a lonely child would pull the same store page trick, this time much more on the nose. A lonely kid desperately tries to escape his dark world is all that is in the description of 2019's Scene. If I were to be crass, I'd describe Scene as a fusion between Limbo and Temple Run. There are a few puzzles, sure, but the game is largely about moving either towards or away from the camera as the environment side-scrolls. I really wish I could pretend to extract some hidden depth here, but the truth is that Scene, despite having no true dialogue, is extremely direct with its messaging. The game is broken up into chunks of literal quotes that appear on screen. It is better to seek light than to rest in darkness. When the world pushes you to your knees, you're in the perfect position to pray. To get what you love, you must first be patient with what you hate. It's easy to take these quotes at face value because they sound like wisdom. They have the cadence of wisdom, the clean symmetry of something you'd find cross-stitched onto a pillow or printed under a stock photo of a sunrise. But the longer I ran, the longer I started to notice what's strange about them, which is that they're not being said to anyone. There is no speaker. No one in this world ever turns to the boy and offers him counsel. The words simply arrive, hanging in the dark, addressed to everyone and therefore to no one in particular. They are the kind of thing that is true in general but useless in specific. Be like the flower that gives its fragrance to even the hand that crushes it is a beautiful sentence to receive when you are safe and warm and surrounded by people who love you, and a much lonelier one to read while you are a child fleeing through a world that is trying to crush you. And that, intentional or not, is the cruelest thing Scene does. Limbo understood that silence is lonely, so it gave you silence to let you hear your own footsteps inside it. Scene goes the other way. It fills the silence completely, never stops talking, always has another aphorism waiting on the next screen, another scrap of borrowed wisdom to push you forward. But none of it is conversation. None of it is anyone speaking to you, the boy, here, now, in your specific trouble. It's the loneliness of a room that is full of voice and empty of company. The particular ache of being surrounded by words and still having no one to talk to. You've probably seen 2018's GRIS, even if you've never played it. It's the kind of game that lives in screenshots, all soft watercolor washes and impossible architecture, a girl in a flowing dress and blue hair standing very small against hand-painted skies. The soundtrack has had a life of its own, escaping the game completely, quietly doing emotional work for stories it was never written for. If you know one thing about GRIS, it's that it's beautiful. That's the thing people remember. But here's what those screenshots leave out. GRIS begins with no color at all. When the game opens, the girl is standing in the palm of an enormous stone hand, and she's singing, until her voice cracks, falters, gives out, the hand crumbles beneath her, and she falls into a world washed out to the palest, emptiest gray. And for a while, GRIS looks exactly like every other game I've talked about. GRIS is concerned about not the loneliness of a world that has emptied out around you, but the loneliness of a world that empties out inside you. Something has been lost, and in its wake, everything goes colorless. Gray isn't contagious. You could be standing in a crowded room and still be exactly this alone, because no one else can step inside your loss and feel how much smaller the world has become. They just see you standing there in a color they can't perceive. So the whole game becomes the slow work of learning to make a sound again. Not to be rescued, not to be heard by anyone, but just to do it. Just to prove the voice is still in there somewhere. The color returns the same way it left, one shade at a time, but only ever because she goes and finds it herself, alone. The thing is, the boy is not the only child in that forest. Every so often you come across others, kids about your own size, the closest thing this world has to your kind, and every one of them wants you gone. They wait in the dark and ambush you, set traps and watch you wander into them, or chase you down to finish the job. Not once does a single one of them stop, see another lost boy, and decide to help. In a game like this, the children should have been the most comforting thing, proof you weren't the last one left. Instead, they're just one more thing in the forest that wants you dead, no different from the spiders, bear traps, or laser-activated machine guns. And that is lonelier than Empty Woods ever would have been, because now you know there were others here the whole time, and not one of them was on your side. Well into the second half of Far, I found myself trudging along a misty abyss. I saw the silhouette of a factory creeping into view beyond the desolate fog. A large metal gate required my machine to stop. After repairing the components of my ship, I began to hear chatter. For the first time along my lonesome journey, through harsh weather and mechanical foreverness, the sound of people is the most jarring thing the game could have given me. I excitedly dashed out of my ship, past the gate, chasing the voices I'd been waiting so long to hear, only to find more brutally industrial scenery. Confused, I returned back to my ship and made a heartbreaking realization on the source of the speech. The damn radio. Nonetheless, I decided to bring the radio with me, holding on to the warmth of the voice that came from the other side. To open the gate, all I had to do was revive some old mechanisms. I come back to the ship and move forward, and the radio returns to normal as if nothing ever happened. You thought you weren't alone, the game says, right before it rips the rug from underneath you. Within the first minute of gameplay in scene, you'll actually come across another person. Not long after, the game will introduce all gameplay mechanics available at your disposal. Shift across the Z-axis, jump, and cover ears. The game tells you that upon an encounter with another person, deafen yourself, and they can't hurt you. The moment is then quickly undercut by an unbelievably obtrusive, "I treat my haters like AM radio. I just don't listen to them." Oh god. Scene makes the narrative decision to just force the child to block out all the company. What I find strange about this is how little it is interrogated. In a story like this, you expect the child to at least interact, give it a chance. But no, every person you meet, you just block them out. It is all taken care of in the final moments of the game, where you are given the chance to retaliate, but the game hits you with the aforementioned, "Be like the flower that gives its fragrance to even the hand that crushes it." Despite these emotional beats failing to strike me, what I extract from this is an indication of how truly forlorn the boy in scene is. In the heartless polygonal landscape, the boy cannot even find comfort in the other people he comes across. He finds no soul he can relate to, no shoulder to lean on. The boy is left on his own to navigate a world that has nothing for him. GRIS doesn't make you block anyone out, and other creatures exist as helpers, not foes. We are not void of company. It's just that the company we're looking for is the one person who's already gone. The whole way through, you're climbing towards these towering feminine figures, reaching for a face the size of a building, chasing the silhouette of a woman you can never quite get to. The other games surround you with strangers. GRIS surrounds you with her. GRIS presents an entirely different shade of loneliness. Not kids who set traps, not false hope in the form of a radio, not people you cover your ears against, but being handed the one person you'd give anything to see, over and over, carved into the world in stone, because that is what grief actually is. It isn't an empty room. It's a room full of someone who isn't there. Loneliness is not a feeling unique to video games. Depictions of seclusion have existed long before the medium's conception. Feeling hopelessly alone is so universally relatable, it's innate that all forms of art would explore it. What video games are uniquely capable of, though, is giving you a vessel to explore that loneliness, to find who you are in that isolation and discover your relationship with the solitude. These games do not hand you loneliness from the outside, rather they have you inhabit that loneliness mile after mile with your own hands on the controls. And through that power to experience it so fully, in the place you'd least expect, emerges each game's most meaningful moments. Scene spends its whole length talking at you, with wisdom you didn't ask for, advice on every screen, a kid who has taught himself to cover his ears against the entire world. And none of it, like I said, landed for me. But there is one through line that did stick, and ironically or fittingly, it's the one the game never bothers to narrate. In a world rendered in emotionless gray, you come across the only color left in it, a small, living thing, a cat. After everything, all the noise and the blocked out company and the generic wisdom that meant nothing, the one thing that finally reaches the boy says nothing at all. It is just present, not even warm or bubbly, and becomes the most precious thing. Far's world may be full of mechanical remains and melancholic structures as far as the eye can see, but that does not subtract from the sense of wonder. Yes, in my time with Far, I was more or less just an on-the-go mechanic, but what never left me was the curiosity of the journey. The feeling of being left literally to my own devices never overtook the captivation of what landscape I'd traverse next, and what part of the world I'd have the privilege to see. Loneliness in Far is hastily repairing the modules on your ship, only to see the gorgeous night sky staring right back at you. It is continuing to sail on and watching that night sky slowly become just the most stunning sunrise. Perhaps it is inevitable that you will get emotionally attached to your humble little ship. It has taken you through thick and thin, a relationship that is as codependent as it is unspoken. The climax of the game shatters this connection as a storm too violent for even the ship to withstand severs the vehicle into two. Using what's left, you continue further, somehow balancing the ship on only its two front wheels. You find the remains of other land vehicles, corpses of previous efforts. Eventually you stop at a shore, basking in the angelic teal sky. You light a fire as the camera begins to zoom out, and the tides rise. As the atmosphere darkens, you see the stars, and what's left of the clouds you can make out. Even the light from your ship will fade out, so it's just you, at the end of your long journey, taking the world in. And while the color may have faded from GRIS's world, she finds it in herself to bring it back. GRIS is certainly about the loss of a loved one, yes, but it is also about overcoming that grief in spite of the lonely times it brings. Though we may lose our voice and feel in each moment that we are on the precipice of collapse, that does not entail we cannot change the universe around us. The finale of GRIS sees the girl return to the statue, reconstructing it to its previous glory, equipped with the strength to sing once more. The color of the world becomes vibrant again, restoring the beauty that was always there, waiting to be reignited. The statue becomes alive, sheds a tear. GRIS exists not as a game concerned about grief consuming you, but as one that sees the meaning in finding your voice again, even if there is no one there to listen. It is about expressing yourself nonetheless and flourishing despite that loneliness. And my God, what a reminder of how beautiful that can be. This is where I come back to Limbo, because unlike in Scene where I learn to love a silent creature, in Far where I become enthralled by the sense of exploration, in GRIS where I can introspectively rediscover myself, I struggle to find such a graceful takeaway. With no light in the darkness, no feeling of wonder, no elegance in the world, I return to that one-line description. Uncertain of his sister's fate, a boy enters limbo. The boy in limbo keeps going not for survival, not for escape, not for some prize buried at the end of his travels, but to see his sister somewhere out there whose fate he doesn't even know. He walks into the most hostile environment I can think of, a place that kills him in 100 different ways, hands him nothing in return, and he gets up every time and keeps moving. The player is given no memory, no backstory, no reason offered for why she's worth a single one of the deaths this land will put you through. And yet you never doubt that she is, because Limbo lets you measure exactly what she means to him in the only language it speaks, how much he is willing to suffer to reach her. Limbo's boy finds nothing in the solitude. What carries him forward isn't something he discovers out there, instead it's something he brought in with him. The love he already had for someone he isn't even sure is still there. After encounters with impossibly large bugs, navigation through vicious heavy machinery, the boy, impossibly, finds himself again in the forest. And there she is, in the grass. The boy walks towards her and she lifts her head. Credits. Maybe that's the most that can be said for the worst kinds of loneliness, the ones that really do give you nothing. That even then, even there, you are not as alone as the dark wants you to believe. Because somewhere out ahead of you is the reason you started walking, and as long as that's true, the loneliness was never the whole story. Because what these games understand is that loneliness is not the verdict, it's the canvas. They empty the whole world out, drain the color, kill the sound, take away every other living thing. Not to punish you, but to clear the space. The way a gallery hangs a single painting on a vast white wall. The way a held breath makes the next word mean 1,000 times more. In all that emptiness, alone at last, you finally see it. The beauty that was waiting the whole time for you to be alone enough to notice.